People used to call Genio a pig. Yeah, middle school nicknames never miss, just not in a good way. Even his own friend clowned him without mercy. Genio couldn't stand looking at his reflection. But 77 days later, people started wondering if this was even the same guy. And nope, this isn't a glow-up, it's a full system update. To understand how things flipped this hard, we need to roll back 6 years. Back to the day Genio pulled off something no one else in Korea had ever done. After 6 years of grinding, he cleared all 99 endings of a video game. Yes, 99, because one ending is clearly too mainstream. He was the only player in the entire country to reach that point. For a moment, it felt like the story wrapped up with a perfect victory. Cue the credits, except not really. Then his phone rang. It was his mom. His parents wanted to know where he was, at Seoul Station. And the real issue? His college entrance exam was in 2 days. Timing so bad it almost feels intentional. His mother nearly exploded in anger, while his father quietly sent taxi money, playing the silent support role like a true side character. Genio thought that was the end of it. But right as he decided to quit the game, a system window popped up, because of course it did. This wasn't a normal game. Everyone else had already moved on. Genio alone kept playing, earning himself the title of addict. Man really said one more run for 6 years straight. After failing the law exam 4 times, he somehow ended up becoming a prosecutor. He even hit #1 on Billboard while working as a street musician. Yeah, this game hands out achievements like daily login rewards. And then it happened. Genio got hit with an electric shock, because apparently that's how skill trees unlock now. A hidden ability appeared. 99% talent, 1% effort. Balanced? Absolutely not. Soon after the effects kicked in, a man began questioning him. Genio answered everything effortlessly. Knowledge flooded his mind. All those text files he memorized in the game finally became useful. Grinding lore paid off in real life. Who knew? Even Ji-Jun, his friend, couldn't believe it. Then came another shock. Genio had scored the highest grade in the entire country. Ji-Jun was completely stunned. The school principal nearly fainted from excitement. For the first time ever, Genio's future looked bright. His admission to Korea University was guaranteed. His father celebrated like they'd just won the World Cup. Honestly, fair reaction. After that, his parents asked what he'd do before starting university. Genio said he'd travel alone. But in reality, he was chasing another skill. Of course he was. To unlock it, he had to perform 108 bows for 77 days in front of a Buddha statue in Gap Boy. Previously, he cheated using a photo. This time, no shortcuts. Character development hitting hard. On top of that, the path was under construction. He considered quitting more than once, but he couldn't. Every step reminded him of who he used to be. The guy everyone laughed at. The boy who hated his own reflection. As he struggled up the mountain, he remembered his mother's words. She worked tirelessly so he'd never go hungry, and all she wanted was for him to enjoy life. Simple goal, heavy impact. So Genio kept going, day after day, bow after bow, for 77 days. Finally, the monk returned. And when it was over, Genio was completely transformed. Cut to Incheon Airport. Several girls were waiting excitedly for their idols. As soon as they appeared, cameras started flashing. Bodyguards struggled to keep the crowd back. Someone asked a guard if any celebrity had gotten separated because of the fans. The guard said no. Then the girls mistook a celebrity for some random guy. Plot twist loading. When the guard turned around, he started getting nervous. The girls assumed he was a rookie actor, which made sense. Genio was ridiculously handsome now. Glow Up went from illegal to mythical. Meanwhile, the traitor was searching for the meeting spot. At the same time, Genio nervously insisted over the phone that he hadn't had plastic surgery. Ji-Jun wasn't buying it, not even a little. Genio kept sending photos to prove his transformation. When determination shows up, solutions follow. This ability could literally change someone's appearance after 77 days. Even someone stuck in the mud could eventually bloom like a lotus if they kept going. Deep message, unexpected source. Inside the plane, a flight attendant asked if anyone needed anything. Another showed up with a handkerchief, thinking he was coughing. Then a third brought water, saying he looked thirsty. Yeah, all for Genio. Man couldn't even breathe in peace. He didn't know where to look anymore. Genio felt incredibly awkward. When he accepted the water, he got another note. At this point, he realized just how powerful looks could be. The number of notes he'd received probably exceeded all the contacts in his phone. Social stats maxed out overnight. This time, everyone in the language program was the same age as him. It was a school trip. Genio blushed. Now he wasn't just smart, he was attractive too. He wanted to make a lot of friends. In Milan, Italy, night had already fallen. Inside the hotel, Genio lay on his bed. He felt uneasy because no one had talked to him. Being ignored bothered him. The members of the Big Belly language program were elite students who had made it to the top. Naturally, their confidence was way above average. But then Lee Genio showed up and shattered the balance. He entered like an overpowered character, breaking the system. Everyone was shocked to learn he also spoke Italian, because why not add another skill? Then came a second unexpected blow. It was a basic rule of human interaction, and Genio just didn't get it. Social mechanics still locked. He cried, wishing he wouldn't spend the next 2 weeks alone. The next day, sitting at the dining table, he felt dizzy from lack of sleep. He ate alone, clearly nervous. Trying the food, he realized it was delicious. As he bit into fresh, crispy bread, he wondered what kind of jam was inside. Suddenly, he noticed someone drinking tea. He turned to look. Then he smiled, feeling a little better. Small victories count. He picked up his coffee and reminded himself not to get discouraged. After all, he was drinking coffee in Milan. Not bad for someone who once avoided mirrors. But the moment the coffee touched his lips, Genio instantly spat it out. The taste hit him hard, way too bitter, and he started wondering if he'd ordered the wrong drink. Yeah, bro expected sugar and got reality instead. Genio tensed up when a girl walked over to him. She explained that in Italy, espresso just comes like that. No sugarcoating, no mercy. He found her really pretty and admitted he probably should have done some research first. She asked if he was a model or an actor. Genio said he was just a student. They talked for a bit. Then she handed him her card and told him he should make use of his potential. Genio was completely caught off guard when she suddenly kissed him. Casual Tuesday behavior, apparently. She started to walk away telling him he should act in a way that matched his looks. Then her eyes locked onto something, and she added that if she had seen him without glasses earlier, she would have gone straight for the lips. Genio just stood there, brain offline. He couldn't process what had just happened. Genio kept replaying the moment in his head. He looked down at the card, realizing he needed to save that number immediately. Upon closer inspection, he saw it belonged to an Italian modeling agency, and that's when it clicked. This had been a street casting. Man accidentally entered a side quest and got recruited. Genio grabbed his face and shouted that things were getting way too intense. Critical mental damage confirmed. He snapped back when someone asked what exactly was so intense. It was Kim Sunmi, the supervisor of the language exchange trip. She pointed out that for someone claiming to be exhausted, he'd woken up pretty early. She also said it'd be a waste to sleep through their time in Italy. Sunmi added that she'd gotten up early too, while the rest were still asleep. Genio said he was too excited to sleep, even though deep down he knew that wasn't true. Yeah, even he didn't buy that excuse. He thought maybe Sunmi, like an older sister figure, could help with the worries he'd been carrying since yesterday. He tried to bring it up, but right then, the waiter arrived with the food. Both Sunmi and Genio froze when they saw it. Genio suddenly shouted something about reset life. Sunmi looked at him like he'd just spoken alien. She told him to call the owner because the order was clearly wrong. When Genio explained that his companion hadn't ordered that much, the owner said there was no mistake. Genio started getting uneasy and asked why all that food had been served. He figured the guy was scamming tourists who didn't speak the language. Classic travel paranoia kicking in. The owner replied that he simply wanted those bright eyes to stay in his cafe a little longer. Flirting level, unexpected boss fight. Genio got even more nervous when Sunmi, now with a terrifying expression, asked what the owner had just said. He hesitated, unsure if he should tell her. Sunmi told him to hurry up because she was starving. After that, sunlight poured in brightly. Sunmi ended up thanking the owner. Genio asked if it didn't bother her that someone had just flirted with her for no reason. She said it was just a kind, harmless gesture. Genio tensed again when Sunmi added that he should be more concerned about a beautiful woman trying to hit on him that early in the morning. He felt embarrassed while she calmly sipped her drink. He wondered how someone who could get almost anything she wanted could still be so innocent. His thoughts started drifting elsewhere, but Sunmi decided to give him some advice. She asked what he thought was the most important element of a broadcast. Some people might say attractive performers, high-end cameras, or perfect lighting. She explained that first, you have to catch the audience's eye with a strong image so they keep watching and boost the ratings. Genio was surprised when Sunmi asked if that same principle was behind the success of Challenge Big Bell. So yeah, It's all strategy at the end of the day. Sunmi explained that the word broadcast comes from broad and cast. Then she added that once you grab someone's attention and have something to say, you should deliver it without hesitation. She pointed out that the beautiful woman earlier first drew Genio in with her looks, then gave him the card, and that the cafe owner had captured her attention with his service before expressing himself. Sunmi asked how awkward it would be to give someone flowers as a sign of affection if they didn't even like them. Genio remembered when Aniadwi confessed to him. That memory made him uncomfortable, so he agreed. After that, he asked Sunmi if she had already delivered her message. She said that was more than enough. No tutorial needed, lesson cleared. Outside, a bus was already waiting for them. Someone nearby was reading a book. It was a very beautiful girl who struggled a bit with certain Italian words. Suddenly something caught her attention, and she blushed. Back then Genio had asked Nuna whether people really rejected the flowers or the person giving them. Nuna said not to waste time on someone who didn't like you, because insisting was disrespectful. But Genio didn't need to worry about that anymore. Back in the present, he asked the girl if she needed help. It was the 4th day of the exchange program. The students were already desperately missing Korean food. One of them even pointed at a church, hoping kimchi stew would fall from the sky. Desperation was unlocking new abilities. Then they saw Genio coming out of that very church. Genio asked the guy to come rescue him because he was having a rough time. Sunmi's advice had worked. Thanks to her words, Genio brought out initiative and courage he'd always kept hidden. The girls were surprised to see him talking to others. That confidence started spreading through the group. The girls began taking pictures with Genio and uploading them online. The photos racked up a massive number of likes. The guys couldn't help but feel jealous. 2 hours later, they still couldn't believe girls kept approaching him. 5 hours in, almost all of them wanted a picture with him. For some weird reason, he ended up bonding more with the guys than with the girls themselves. Meanwhile, Genio started dreading every tourist stop because he knew what was coming. Endless photos. Bro became a walking photo booth against his will. One of the guys said the ideal life was being just moderately good looking. Genio fired back that even moderate needed moderation. Emotional damage, no patch notes. The girls couldn't figure out why all the guys were chasing after Genio. One of them yelled at the crowd to stop bothering him. A guy was just about to catch up, and right then, the post crossed 10,000 likes. Timing so perfect it feels scripted. Out of nowhere, Genio felt something was off, so he just stopped running. The guy behind him slammed straight into his back. Genio suddenly felt like he was wearing something uncomfortable. Even standing slightly off posture now felt weirdly wrong. He remembered the card he'd received and asked the girls if they'd really uploaded the photos. They nodded, confirming the post had already passed 10,000 likes. After hearing that, Genio started digging into it, convinced that strange feeling was tied to that number. He went to read comments from players who had unlocked the Reset Life forum. And there it was, everything he'd experienced since that very morning, written out. One comment claimed someone out there had been born solely to become a model. Genio's nerves kicked in. He thought maybe they'd made 10,000 fake accounts. But the real hidden skill was being born with that talent without realizing it. And that just happened to be the requirement for unlocking the best ability. Balanced, as all broken systems are. Sitting in a gelato shop, Genio reflected that he never expected to keep unlocking new abilities like this. He also started wondering about his limits and possible side effects. Because yeah, free power-ups usually come with a catch. Still, he was genuinely happy. First came CBT rewards, then OBT bonuses, and now even daily login perks. At this point, the game was being way too generous. The girls found it adorable watching Genio basically star in chocolate and strawberry gelato ads. Then something caught his attention. He noticed a crowd gathering in one spot and looked confused. Naturally, he went to check what was going on. Someone nearby muttered that this needed to stop. Another person got a call telling them to pull their model out because the shoot had ended early. The man complained he'd never work with that agency again. They'd sent him the worst model possible. Meanwhile, Genio started getting messages from his friends asking what was happening there. The photographer was frantically searching for something. The man asked if they should just redo the shoot the next day. Finally, the photographer found what he was looking for and smiled. Then he spotted Genio. God definitely plays favorites, he said, telling the man to bring that Asian guy over no matter what. New objective, acquire talent, legally optional. There was a skill called on the hottest thing. It activated when all eyes were locked onto one person. Some people are just built to steal the spotlight. Meanwhile, Another man was biting his thumb in frustration. That was Leonardo, the model. He was furious about being replaced. Then he remembered some random amateur. The newbie had even asked a makeup artist what to do if his face started itching. Yeah, that's tutorial-level behavior. Leonardo also recalled the same photographer who had once rejected him. Watching Genio, the photographer commented that even in a crowd, his presence was impossible to ignore. Genio finished his call with Sunday. Then he told the photographer he'd already gotten approval from the supervisor to join the shoot. The photographer asked him point-blank if he was actually a professional model. Honestly, he didn't even care about the answer anymore. Genio stayed quiet for a few seconds before admitting he wasn't. Then suddenly, all the studio lights switched on. Genio assumed the question had triggered some kind of skill. And right at that moment, he became a professional model. Man unlocked a career mid-conversation. He still wasn't signed to any agency. Then out of nowhere, an elephant appeared because, sure, why not? The iron bars started snapping. The animal broke through them and bolted. The photographer was completely stunned, yet he kept shooting non-stop, praising Genio the entire time. He continued snapping photos while casually telling him to lift his chin a bit more. The other man watched nervously, just seeing the session. He could already picture the results when it was over. The photo shoot was complete. He was certain readers wouldn't be able to look away from those images. That's what real attention capture looks like. But one thought kept looping in his mind. Genio looked insanely good before he was ready to spit in the photographer's face if this went wrong. Now he fully understood the massive gap between them. Next morning in Seoul, South Korea, the sound of running shower water filled the room. Someone turned off the tap after finishing, then started drying their hair with a towel, and suddenly something caught him off guard. It was Genio staring at himself in the mirror once again, realizing how good-looking he was. Mirrors working overtime. At this point, Genio thought about how that overseas study trip had been packed with unforgettable experiences. He took part in a photo shoot and made plenty of friends. He even earned a solid amount of money from modeling. But out of everything he gained, what satisfied him most was buying gifts for his parents. A woman wearing a scarf was washing dishes with a big smile. Genio felt a bit nervous since those gifts were for both his mom and dad. He asked her why she was wearing the scarf so early in the day. Genio smiled when she said she just wanted to show off what her son bought her. Mother pride, max level unlocked. At an oil storage facility, several workers were chatting. One asked if that watch was new. Genio's father proudly showed it off, happy to wear the gift from his son. Meanwhile, birds flew across the sky. At the same time, Genio was having breakfast at home. His mother asked if he remembered Aunt Jinsu. Genio said yes, and recalled how she always looked down on both him and his mother. His mother, clearly irritated, explained that Jinsuk wanted to hire him as a private tutor for her son and asked what he thought about it. She was gripping her cup like it owed her money. She looked so mad she nearly cracked the mug until Genio calmly said that if it was a friend of hers asking, he could accept. He added he had zero intention of charging Aunt Jinsuk an outrageous fee, generous or strategically petty. Hard to tell. That answer instantly put a smile on his mother's face. Genio realized she had actually wanted to refuse out of pride, but didn't have a clean excuse to do it. Then she surprised him by bringing up Aunt Mayong's son. Genio remembered Mayong as the one person who had always supported both him and his mother. She even gave him a steady allowance, basically his sponsor. Before he had sponsors, she constantly looked out for him, and whenever needed, she'd step in to defend him, too. When Genio clarified he wasn't playing favorites between her friends, his mother looked genuinely relieved. After all, the money Mayong had given him over time was no small amount. Genio blushed, thinking how lucky he was to have gained the top student in the country ability. Yeah, RNG really said you're the main character. Later, he asked if his parents planned to attend his university entrance ceremony. He was already wearing the suit he'd gotten as a gift in Italy, and asked Jijuan what he thought. Still eating, Jijuan suddenly shouted that entering university meant officially stepping into adulthood, and a suit symbolized exactly that. Man delivered a TED Talk mid-bite. Even Genio's mother was surprised, commenting how much things had changed since her time. Jijuan had just unlocked fashion consultant mode out of nowhere. Genio headed off to the university, saying he'd call if he got back late. On the bus, he happily drifted through random thoughts. A peaceful moment, which means it won't last. Soon after he got off, the people nearby were so stunned they didn't even speak. Genio drew every eye the moment he appeared. He was the only student wearing a full suit. Everyone else started whispering because absolutely no one dresses like that for an entrance ceremony. Jinio began to tremble. He quickly texted Jia Tim Jones and instantly realized he'd been set up on purpose. Congratulations, you played yourself. Furious, Jinio decided he was going to kill Jia Tim Jones. Friendship level attempted murder unlocked. Meanwhile, over in the business administration department, chaos was brewing. Everyone was frantically searching for Jinio because he was supposed to deliver the freshman oath. One student suggested calling him. Small problem, no one had his number. They started arguing since basically nobody knew anything about him. He had skipped orientation and didn't even use social media. A guy explained he missed orientation because he was on an overseas study trip. At this point, they were already annoyed since another student was missing too. DY was confused when a friend told her to check her phone. On the screen was a photo of Jinio. The girls couldn't understand how he looked that good, even with part of his face covered. Visuals breaking physics again. Without noticing, they started blushing. One of them said there was no way someone like that could be a freshman in their department. Then they looked up when someone called out to them. It was Jinio, completely worn out. He asked if they were from the business administration department. The girls were stunned into silence. Daddy answered yes. Jinio introduced himself properly, then explained he was the one assigned to read the entrance oath. Finally, he apologized for being late. A guy responded sharply, saying that if there's a set time, it should be respected. He assumed Jinio was just acting important. But the moment he saw him up close, his expression shifted. He couldn't hide how impressive Jinio looked. Yeah, attitude patched instantly. Jinio stepped forward and began reciting the oath as a proud representative of Korea University. One of the guys admitted Jinio was way better than he expected. He even said he liked him more now. Character development speedrun. Another student snapped at him for saying that. 10 minutes later, that same guy was still wondering what kind of person Jinio really was. Man was analyzing him like a final boss mechanic. Perfect score on the national exam, and that face on top of it. He figured that suit must have cost a fortune. Then he remembered a wealthy heir who once showed up to an event in a tuxedo. So he concluded Jinio must also come from a powerful family, just not the main heir, hence the low profile. And just like that, the misunderstanding started snowballing. Lore being invented in real time. The guy even began worrying they had just scolded someone with insane status and might disappear because of it. His imagination was already writing a conspiracy thriller. Eventually, he took a deep breath and decided to pretend none of this had happened. After finishing, Jinio bowed and apologized again for not contacting them earlier and for missing orientation. He explained he saw the exchange trip as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. He also admitted he should have gotten contact info from upperclassmen and reached out in advance. One senior replied that orientation had never been mandatory and they weren't some outdated authority figures. Then asked why Jinio even brought it up. Jinio answered that he had overheard them talking about him, very loudly, subtlety, non-existent. The senior ended up apologizing. Jinio flinched when the upperclassman questioned his outfit. For a few seconds he considered several excuses, but then he realized he couldn't stay a loner throughout all of university. So he came up with something on the spot. Improvisation stat, maxed out. The other guy started getting nervous as Jinio explained that after the ceremony, he'd be doing an interview for Korea the next day. That name rang bells immediately, the university's famous official magazine. Basically, every high-achieving student dreamed of being featured in it. At that point, inviting someone with perfect scores and that kind of appearance didn't seem strange at all. Jinio had everyone's full attention when he added that, upon receiving the offer, he had thought deeply about it. He wondered how he could make readers associate the business administration major with Korea University. As he spoke, Jinio internally realized something. The lies were coming out way too naturally. Even he almost bought his own story. He went on to explain that the university gathered some of the brightest minds in the entire country. Then he started wondering what kind of outfit could best represent the business administration department. Big brain energy, sponsored by fashion. He described it as a place where top-tier talent came together. Then Jinio declared there was only one possible answer. The only clothing worthy of representing that faculty was a suit. Man really turned a wardrobe mistake into a philosophy lecture. Inside, though, he was already regretting everything and thinking it would have been way easier to just admit he got pranked. The guy next to him placed a hand on his shoulder, then told him he could call him Hyung from now on. Hook, line, and sinker. He had completely believed the story and was now seriously reflecting on it. Critical lie deployed, flawless execution. Later, at a convenience store, Ji-jun couldn't stop laughing after hearing the whole thing. Gino asked him to hand over the card reader. He still couldn't believe Ji-jun had set up such an elaborate trap. That's not a prank, that's a full quest line. Then Gino asked how he managed not to take off his shoes during the flight. Ji-jun immediately dodged the question and asked how the photo shoot went the day before. Professional deflection, 10 tenths. Gino recalled that the photographer had wanted to extend the session. According to him, things were going so well he didn't want to stop shooting. But another man cut it short because they also needed to interview Gino. Gino said everything had gone perfectly. Then he showed some documents a senior student had given him. They contained detailed info about professors, teaching styles, specialties, electives, and course content. Basically, the ultimate student survival guide. The upperclassmen had gathered all of that specifically for him. Ji-jun asked why they would go that far. Gino replied that he was planning to change his academic track to guitar. Plot twist just dropped out of nowhere. Excited, he said every young Korean should dream of wearing jeans, slinging a guitar over their shoulder, and traveling across the country. Ji-jun smiled, oddly satisfied. Gino added that during university festivals Ji-jun could sit on the grass, pull out a guitar, and crack open a beer. Bro was pitching a whole coming-of-age movie. Ji-jun suddenly started searching for something. He said Gino was giving off a very strange vibe. Then he pulled out an air freshener and started spraying him. As he did, he shouted for the ghost of the 1980s to leave Jin-yo's body immediately. Area of effect disrespect activated. Jin-yo asked if Ji-jun had any relatives from the 80s. Then told him that was seriously disrespectful. Ji-jun fired back that the real disrespect was pairing that face with those clothes. Fashion police has entered the chat. He then questioned why Jin-yo was wearing a white shirt with a red coat. Jin-yo calmly answered that red looked elegant and white gave a sense of cleanliness. At that moment, Ji-jun's mother, Shin-yo, walked in and smacked her son. Perfect timing, as always. She said every time she saw him dressed like that she felt like crying, then asked if he really thought she was paying his tuition just for him to waste his time. Parental reality check, critical hit. Ji-jun froze when Shin-yo explained that Jin-yo's outfit had been bought by his own mother. He instantly switched sides and declared the outfit had a very avant-garde style. World record for fastest opinion change. Meanwhile, in the office of the head designer of a prestigious French brand, someone asked Tim Jones why they were heading to Korea. He shouted back that the preparation week was about to begin. Another person looked worried. He said they had just come out of a long creative block and thought they'd finally get some rest. Also asked how long it would take to find a completely unknown Asian model. Tim adjusted his glasses and replied that was exactly why he was going in person, then declared his muse was in that country. As he spoke, he held a magazine with Jin-yo on the cover. A week earlier, someone had told Tim Jones to snap out of it already. Everyone thought he had finally lost his mind. Someone slammed the table, saying they actually understood the situation perfectly. Their lead designer had been stuck in the worst creative block of his career for over a month. The table was covered in countless empty coffee cups. Tim Jones, completely dizzy, said no matter how much coffee he drank, inspiration just wouldn't come. He explained that before, even the smell of fresh coffee was enough to spark ideas. Now it just kept him awake, productivity buff removed. Sometimes he even felt jealous of Mr. Lockerbell. Then he remembered when Lockerbell had been amazed after tasting a certain coffee. Lockerbell told him to imagine the muse who had drunk that cup. And just like that, inspiration hit him instantly. He started sketching like he was on something. Creative mode, chemically assisted. Since then, he couldn't stop thinking about muses and swore he never wanted to become a designer who relied on something like that. Back in the present, Tim Jones suddenly burst into tears out of pure envy. He cried uncontrollably because he also wanted to find his own muse. When someone commented they never expected the brand to choose an Asian model, Tim froze. Then he noticed two women flipping through a magazine, talking about buying a suit for one of their husbands. Tim immediately stood up to investigate. Curiosity level, unstoppable. In that moment, he understood the true power of fashion. It didn't just display clothing, it made people want to wear it. Now that's marketing with bonus damage. Then Tim Jones was completely stunned by what he saw. The designer and the other man kept watching him closely. Tim approached them and ordered a list of every Asian male model featured in the latest issue. The man got annoyed when Tim said he needed total focus all day and didn't want to be disturbed. The designer told him to leave Tim alone. She had never seen him act like this. When Tim Jones had that excited, childlike look, no one could stop him. Creative mode fully possessed. It was a bright morning. Hours passed, and before anyone noticed, the day faded away into night. Man bursts out laughing and drops a pencil. It's Tim Jones. He snatches it up like it's a winning lottery ticket and yells in excitement. Inspiration just hit him out of nowhere, literally imagined it, and boom, there it was. Man unlocked creativity like it's a cheat code. He immediately swears he'll track down Genio, his so-called muse, no matter the cost. Side quest acquired. Find the main character. Meanwhile, Myung is chilling in her seat, casually using her iPad. She mentions that he used to constantly nag her about crossing her legs because it would ruin her posture. And now, look at her, doing exactly that. Peak character development. Right then, Genio walks in carrying a bouquet of flowers. He asks Aunt Myung why she's still sitting with her legs crossed, then hands her the bouquet. Myung replies that once she turns 40 and a half, she'll live however she wants. Hyper-specific life rule, but okay. Genio compliments her. She smiles and teases him, asking if he's buttering her up because she's the company's largest shareholder. Genio thinks, I didn't go that far. Then remembers she's always been one of his biggest hype people. Myung quickly takes a photo with him. No missed opportunities. Content is king. After that, she gives him a gift to celebrate his university admission. Genio thanks her and opens it. The moment he sees what's inside, he asks if he should return the flowers and pick something better because this looks way too expensive. Myung says he has excellent taste in handbags, even though she always assumed he didn't care about fashion. Genio admits he doesn't know much, but he's seen that logo everywhere. When she casually reveals it's a fake she bought at the market for 5,000 won, Genio visibly relaxes. Bro unlocked instant peace. That peace lasts exactly a few seconds, because she immediately adds that the authenticity certificate is also inside the bag. Emotional damage, speedrun edition. Myung starts talking about how fascinating brand value is. Sometimes a brand alone represents sincerity and can skyrocket the price of something ordinary. Then she asks if he's ever seen that famous bracelet made from blue adhesive tape by brand Yi. Apparently it cost over 500. Yes, tape, luxury tape, let that sink in. She explains that brands originally existed to guarantee product quality. Some people buy things because they're genuinely the best, others just because it has the UU name slapped on it. Logo equals sign instant upgrade. She adds that an object's value can increase purely because it carries a recognizable logo. Then asks if that doesn't feel like the touch of King Midas. Genio laughs and agrees completely. But now he's wondering why she suddenly switched to a TED talk about branding. When Myung calls his name, he tenses up again, alert level rising. She tells him she can see that same Midas touch in him, then adds she wouldn't fail to recognize it just because he gained a little weight, subtle roast included for free. She even admits she doesn't understand how it took her so long to notice his true potential. Genio nervously says people always claim studying can completely change someone. Inside he's spiraling, wondering if she somehow discovered the secret of reset life. His hand clenches tightly around his wrist. Panic level, boss fight. But he calms down when she simply suggests he drop out of university and work at her company. Okay, plot twist downgraded. Myung explains it's incredibly rare to find someone young with both Genio's looks and academic prestige. She also says she'd hate for another company to recruit him first. Corporate greed, but make it flattering. Genio points out he literally just attended the entrance ceremony. Men suggest they talk about Jong's tutoring instead. Deep down he's convinced his aunt knows nothing about reset life. Genio asks if the subject is English and if the goal is around a 70 score. Myung replies that her daughter has never even scored above 20. Oof, critical hit to academics. When Genio asks if they've tried private tutors before, Myung sighs and says yes, but none lasted more than a month. She explains Jong never does homework and barely pays attention. On top of that, she has zero sense of time, so tutors always give up first. Respectfully, that's a nightmare student. Myung adds that most people think Jang became arrogant because she relies too much on her aunt's status. Genio counters that she's actually still pretty innocent since she was playing Pokemon up until 6th grade. That detail came out of nowhere, but we're rolling with it. Myung visibly relaxes when Genio asks her to trust him. He promises to show the level of someone who scored perfectly on the national entrance exam. Light flex but deserved. Then Myung asks how much she should pay him. Genio tells her not to offer anything outrageous. He says if she pays too much he'll feel so embarrassed he'll stop visiting. Myung said pay me less or I disappear. At that moment someone enters the door code. The housekeeper asks if Madam has arrived. Myung asks where Ji-hyun is. The housekeeper says she's still in her room. Myung walks over and gently knocks on the door. While waiting, she asks if her daughter is asleep. Jang says nothing because she's glued to her phone. Priorities, screen time over existence. Myung says the English lesson for today was cancelled and will start next week. She also asks her to genuinely try this time. Jang is completely shocked when her mother says the new tutor will be Jinio, who used to visit often. Instant nostalgia unlocked. She immediately recalls the times they used to play together. Myung steps back with a sad expression, then starts walking away, questioning what kind of mother she's being. That hit a little too real. Suddenly she stops. Jang opens the door and asks if everything she said is true, then asks if she'll get to see Brother Bear again next week. Meanwhile, it's Saturday at Dongwon Shopping Mall. Several girls start blushing after spotting someone. It's Ji-hyun walking alongside Jinio. Visual buff activated. Ji-hyun complains, wondering why he has to walk around the entire mall with just another guy. Understandable confusion. Jinio says Ji-hyun has the best fashion sense, so he needs his help. Ji-hyun instantly perks up and promises to treat Jinio to anything under 30,000 won. Very specific budget. But hey, free food is free food. Right then, Tim Jones asks Jinio why he suddenly decided to reinvent his entire look. Ji-hyun nearly drops his brain when Jinio pulls up his social media feed. Apparently, chaos happened while he blinked. Ji-hyun bursts out laughing at one post and asks if the guy in the pictures is actually him. Fair question, honestly. Jinio shuts it down instantly and says he only found out about all this yesterday. Turns out, random people had been secretly snapping photos of him. He never expected to go viral as the face of terrible fashion. Achievement unlocked. Worst drip, best results. Despite that, Jinio's actually happy because it helped him make a ton of friends at his faculty. When Ji-hyun asks why they came all the way to Dongdaemun to shop, Jinio says it's packed with cheap brands. Ji-hyun calls that logic ridiculous. The second Jinio claims anything looks high-end once he wears it. Confidence level illegal. That's when Jinio recalls Myung saying he had the Midas touch. If that's true, maybe it's time to repay what Hyundai did for him 3 years ago. Meanwhile, someone is on a phone call, sounding stressed, asking if the other person plans to quit. It's Diochi, the owner of a store in the mall. He tells his employee to come in today since the new spring collection just arrived. The employee fires back saying he can barely keep working after 3 months without pay. Yeah, that'll do it. The call ends right there. Diochi wonders why he's the only one falling behind when so many others are succeeding in the business. He's convinced he's tried everything. In his mind, his fashion sense isn't worse than anyone else's. He even took out loans to hire attractive models to showcase his clothes. On top of that, he paid intermediaries to boost his shop's ranking. Man invested in everything except luck. He looks up at the light. All he has left now are debts. With barely enough money to restock for the next day, he decides at least his employees should get paid. Priorities, finally. He stares at his own hand in silence. Gripping his wrist, he mutters that surviving 3 years in this industry is already a huge accomplishment. Then he says people destined to succeed will make it, and those who aren't, won't. According to him, that's just how the world works. Spoken like a man sponsored by overdue bills. At that moment, his eyes land on Jinyu. He thinks that if someone can look good wearing the kind of awful outfit only found in Dongdaemun, then there must exist a store so hopeless even Ander Kim couldn't fix it. He laughs, then realizes that store is his. Self-awareness hits different. Jinyu spots him sitting there. The moment he starts running toward him, Diochi wonders why this kid is heading straight for his shop. Jinyu greets him with a huge smile, then immediately says it's him. 3 years ago, inside this very store, someone had told him things couldn't be done that way. Diochi replies that selling clothes is way harder than it looks. Jinyu agrees without hesitation. No lies detected. Diochi offers him a drink. He even promises that when he opens a second branch, Jinyu will be the manager. Startup energy at maximum. Sometime later, Diochi starts taking photos of Jinyu, all because Jinyu asked him to record using that app. Diochi smiles, thinking it's admirable that someone so young already chose a path and is practicing so seriously, even if he still has no clue what reset life actually is. At this point, he assumes it's just some photo editing app. Close enough? Not really. Jinyu realizes Diochi completely misunderstood, but decides not to correct him, since he's always been like a kind older brother. Back in the present, Diochi admits he got worried when the kid who visited his shop every day for 2 weeks suddenly vanished. Then he finally recognizes him. Jinyu apologizes for disappearing without saying goodbye, then asks if he can check out the clothes. As Diochi explains everything is newly stocked, Jinyu starts browsing. He then asks Ji-jun for his opinion. Ji-jun says everything looks good. Diochi goes to grab the items while Ji-jun suggests pairing them with white canvas sneakers. Classic combo, can't miss. Diochi watches nervously as the two discuss outfit combinations. When Jinyu steps out of the fitting room, the white shoes match perfectly. He looks incredible, and the clothes suddenly feel like luxury pieces just because he's wearing them. Passive skill, drip enhancement. Jinyu fully agrees. Diochi can't believe those outfits came from his own store. Then he hears Ja Tim Jones asking Jinyu if there's a reason he agreed to work as a model. At that moment, Diochi feels like this might be his last shot. Jinyu looks confused when Diochi asks him for a single favor. The request is simple, be the test model for his shop. He begs, saying it'll only take 30 minutes. Diochi thanks him sincerely when Jinyu agrees, remembering how much he helped him 3 years ago. He immediately starts digging through his wallet before Jinyu can change his mind. Speedrun, paying mode. Jinyu says there's no need to pay him, but Diochi refuses, insisting work must be properly compensated. All three go silent as Diochi opens his wallet. Then he breaks into tears and says he'll have to borrow money just to pay Jinyu. That wallet just entered survival mode. Jinyu insists again that payment isn't necessary. Not long after, someone shows up carrying a mountain of shopping bags. Jinyu awkwardly says that even though everything was cheap, it still feels like he's getting too much. Then asks Ji-jun how he looks in the new outfit. Ji-jun says he looks like a rich lady fresh out of a shopping spree. Unexpected build acquired. Right as the pedestrian light turns green, Ji-jun complains that it's unfair. He points out Jinyu came to buy clothes and somehow ended up making money instead. Bro went shopping and triggered a profit combo. Jinyu fires back that he's been feeling the exact same way about Ji-jun for the past 7 years. Then he tells him to think back to their elementary school days. They both buy the same ice cream. Yet Ji-jun somehow always got an extra scoop just for being handsome. Spawned with premium perks enabled, Jinyu follows up by asking who it was that kept getting free drinks at the barbecue place. Ji-jun shrugs it off, saying it was just a special case, and he simply got lucky with generous owners. Sure, luck. Totally not face-based privileges. Jinyu gets annoyed when Ji-jun insists he's received those benefits as naturally as breathing since birth. Talking about food flips a switch, and now Ji-jun is hungry. He asks Jinyu to treat him to a meal. Right then, Jinyu stops after hearing someone call his name from behind. It's a girl staring at him like she just saw a celebrity in the wild. Jinyu stays quiet while she says it's been such a long time. Ji-jun looks like he might throw up and mutters that she's got serious nerve approaching Jinyu like that. The girl introduces herself as Bora and explains they were classmates in high school. That name hits like a flashbang. Jinyu remembers how she once humiliated him in front of everyone, announcing that an ugly chubby guy had confessed to her. He also recalls her tearing up the love letter he wrote when he was still into her. Emotional damage, archived but not deleted. Jinyu says he remembers her, then asks how she even recognized him. Bora replies that he's now locally famous on social media. Ji-jun comments that now that Jinyu is attractive and popular, it's no surprise Bora suddenly remembers him. Memory patch update installed instantly. Ji-jun even thinks she probably spread rumors back then because she couldn't handle rejection and ended up moving away to avoid facing him. Bora says meeting like this must be fate, then invites him out for coffee. Jinyu pauses to think. After a brief moment, he answers. Bora's hopes instantly collapse when he apologizes. He explains he's busy and can't accept the invitation. Clean rejection, no DLC. As he turns to leave, Bora asks if they can at least exchange phone numbers. She starts getting irritated when he refuses again. Jinyu calmly says the reason is something she understands better than anyone. Direct hit, no armor. He adds that it was nice seeing her and wishes her well. Bora clenches her teeth in frustration. Ji-jun can't understand why Jinyu is still being polite to someone like her. Bora tightens her fist, then calls out to him again, shouting that just because he's surrounded by girls now, he thinks he's some kind of prince. She adds that his good looks won't last forever. Big villain monologue, mid-street edition. Jinyu and Ji-jun just walk away, thinking they really had bad luck running into her. Ji-jun calls Jinyu prince, and says his loyal knight's stomach is already empty, then tells him to hurry up so they can eat. Fairy tale energy fully activated. Ji-Jun suddenly lifts Jin-Yu onto his back, and the two leave together. Bora stays frozen in place, completely stunned. Later that night, at John and Pig House, Ji-Jun says that after getting rejected like that, Bora probably won't pretend to know Jin-Yu ever again. Then he adds that Jin-Yu looked seriously cool today, and asks why he never acted like that before. Jin-Yu says it's not quite like that. He explains that if Bora had just apologized back then, they'd probably be having coffee right now. Plot fork denied years ago. He admits that despite everything, he still feels a small emptiness in his chest. Ji-Jun grabs a piece of meat and says that emptiness isn't emotional. It's just his stomach crying for help. Diagnosis: hunger. Jin-Yu tastes the meat and ends up agreeing. It's not sadness, it's hunger. He mentions he still has the money Deoki gave him, so he tells Ji-Jun to eat as much as he wants. Unlimited buffet mode activated. An hour later, both are shocked when the bill comes out to 140,000 won. Ji-Jun points out that Jin-Yu alone ate 4 portions. That appetite deserves its own leaderboard. Meanwhile, a young woman walking down the street gets handed a church flyer. She looks at it curiously, wondering if people actually believe in that, or are just wasting money. Then someone calls out to her, and she turns around. She's surprised when Jin-Yu tells her she'd look better with her hair down. Random NPC just got a makeover suggestion. The girl looks confused, but ends up agreeing. Jin-Yu lets out a long sigh. He nervously thinks he's losing it. This is already the 5th time he's commented on a stranger's outfit or style. Fashion critic mode stuck on. He realizes that while helping promote Deoki's store, he unlocked another ability. His sense of aesthetics has shot up to an absurd level. Now he feels an uncontrollable urge to judge how everyone dresses. Passive skill: unsolicited opinions. He lightly taps his head, wondering if he'll start critiquing even his superiors' outfits. Then comes club registration day at the university, and he decides to focus. Someone knocks on the door. It's Jin-Yu. He walks into the office saying he wants to sign up for a club. He freezes when he sees a man passed out asleep. Peak professionalism right there. The man barely opens his eyes and notices him. Jin-Yu asks if he's sick. The moment he hears Jin-Yu is there for a registration form, the man instantly regains full energy. Mana bar restored to max. Jin-Yu flinches as the guy suddenly jumps up. The staff member hands him a membership form, then asks which club he wants. When Jin-Yu says tennis, the man thanks him enthusiastically. He even takes a picture of the form, leaving Jin-Yu confused about the sudden excitement. The man then asks if Jin-Yu has any idea how closely the professors are watching him. He explains that after the magazine shoot, the dean was absolutely thrilled. Because of that, several professors quietly started competing behind the scenes. Everyone wants Jin-Yu in their club, and it's turning his life into chaos. This isn't recruitment anymore, it's a bidding war. Jin-Yu assumed professors were just advisors, but the man clarifies they all want him actively involved. The man tells Jin-Yu to contact him later that same day, and warns him to be careful. Professors whose clubs get rejected might start applying pressure. Academic PvP unlocked. Jin-Yu starts wondering if he's really that in demand. He recalls a business professor pushing him hard to join the golf club, then an economics professor trying to drag him into a hiking group. Another one even approached him in the cafeteria about joining the soccer club. Man can't even eat in peace. Jin-Yu explains all this nervously. He admits the whole situation feels more stressful than his first time playing a dating sim. Public choices matter now. The man hands him a tennis racket and says it was sponsored by alumni, then casually tells him not to feel pressured. Yeah, no pressure, just your entire reputation. He opens the door and walks out with Jin-Yu. When they reach the court, Jin-Yu is visibly impressed. The man welcomes him to the tennis club. Jin-Yu watches several people practice. A girl tosses the ball into the air. The player responds with a powerful serve. Jin-Yu is completely stunned. The man explains that when a serve is so fast and precise the opponent can't even touch it, it's called an ace. New vocabulary unlocked. Jin-Yu just stares, confused. The man assures him he'll understand after playing a few times. That's optimistic. When another student spots them, he shouts that Yongjia brought Jin-Yu. Suddenly everyone starts yelling that Yongjia recruited 2 elite students. They even mention the hiking club must be furious. Club rivalry going full anime arc. After watching Jin-Yu for an hour, 2 guys start getting nervous. Jin-Yu tosses the ball up. He tries to serve, misses, he tries again, misses again, Turns out being the protagonist doesn't auto-unlock sports skills. The guys quickly realize Jinyu is actually terrible at tennis. For a while he just keeps picking up balls, thinking things are not going as planned. The only time he ever held a racket was during a school activity. Meanwhile, he feels the older members watching him. And yeah, he's way below their level. Eventually, he glances toward the girls playing on the next court. As the ball hangs in the air, Jinyu freezes. He wonders if now is the time to unlock that skill. If he gets the Prince of the Tennis Court ability, he could instantly surpass everyone there. He already meets the first requirement, holding a racket. Now he just needs to complete 100 rallies. The urge to speedrun is strong. Since rally difficulty depends on how cooperative the opponent is, he considers finding an easy way to grind it, but immediately feels that would be cheating the spirit of it. Rare moment of integrity detected. Right then, someone suddenly appears. Jinyu flinches as Yangji pops up out of nowhere and asks what he's thinking. He apologizes immediately. Yangji looks confused. Jinyu explains he scored 0 in his practical evaluation. He feels like joining the club without skills is just causing trouble. Yangji stays silent for a few seconds, then bursts out laughing. He grabs a ball and asks if this is Jinyu's first time being in a club. Tutorial NPC has entered the chat. Yangji explains that top students usually spend all their time studying and rarely join extracurriculars. Jinyu thinks he's joking, but Yangji clarifies that clubs aren't about ranking who's better. They exist so people can enjoy themselves. Revolutionary concept. Jinyu still doesn't fully get it. Yangji adds that students these days are too obsessed with competition. Like losing a single point equals total failure. He says many people think falling slightly behind means everything is over. But those who actually enjoy the process end up becoming the best. Jinyu realizes he's right. Then Yangji asks if practicing serves against a machine isn't boring. He suggests they do a rally together. Jinyu declines. He realizes he's been so focused on not falling behind that he nearly forgot what actually matters. Plot twist, the enemy was anxiety. Later the sun is blazing. That same day, Jinyu officially starts his job as an English tutor. Someone offers him fruit. The housemaid asks what he'd like to drink. Just a soda, please. Jinyu never imagined Aunt Mayong had a housemaid. Plot upgrade unlocked. Suddenly Jang appears, calling for the maid. She walks in cheerfully, kicking off her shoes. Then excitedly asks, "Where's Teddy Bear at?" and immediately throws her backpack at the maid. Zero hesitation, full commitment. The maid reminds her that her tutor is already waiting. Jang looks confused when she sees Jinyu waving at her, then suddenly points at him as she remembers something. Jinyu is completely stunned when she assumes he's her mother's secret boyfriend. Conclusion reached at light speed. She insists he's the man from Mayong's phone wallpaper, then asks what he's doing there, since Teddy Bear Appa was supposed to come. Jinyu starts panicking as Jang accuses him of charming her mom with his looks and stealing the tutor job. Plotline getting wild for no reason. Annoyed, she turns around to leave, regretting coming home early. Jinyu frowns when the maid reminds her she promised to try harder this time. But Jang fires back that her mother broke the promise first by not bringing Jinyu. Suddenly she freezes when Jinyu says the words pink piglet. Critical memory trigger. Jinyu asks where she learned to behave so rudely. She remembers calling him chubby. She also recalls constantly forcing him to play with her. Then she remembers how embarrassed her mother used to feel about that behavior. He also found himself thinking about that photo he'd taken with his dad. Yeah, memory lane just hit him with a full combo. While Jang stayed quiet, Jinyu figured step 1 was unlocking his ability. Then Jang suddenly hurled her phone. The thing flew like it had a personal vendetta, and the screen shattered on impact. Jinyu shot her an annoyed look as she kept pestering him to play with her. Mayong and her friend? Completely stunned, Jinyu smacked her arm and told her to raise her hands properly. Then he started scolding her, firm and no nonsense. Jang instantly broke down crying, and right after that, Jinyu smacked his own arm, triggering what could only be described as a fat-powered sonic boom. Therapy session, but make it cinematic. Mayong's friend started getting nervous watching all this unfold. She was about to step in and stop them, but Mayong explained that Jinyu was just correcting Jang's behavior. Back in the present, Jinyu hit his arm again. Jang watched silently as he casually mentioned there wasn't any fat left there anymore. The housekeeper observed everything, completely shocked. That's when it clicked for Jinyu. Jang didn't even know he had lost weight, which meant they hadn't talked to Mayong in a very long time. Now he finally understood that expression his aunt always wore. He realized Jang barely had any friends left, and he wondered what would happen if she ended up distancing herself from her own family too. Yeah, that combo rarely ends well. At last, he told her to lower her hands. He explained that her aunt had told him how disrespectful she'd been. Zhang snapped back, yelling at him to stop meddling in things that weren't his business. Jinyu repeated her words in a tone that was genuinely terrifying. Not loud, just the kind that freezes your soul. He let out a long sigh as Zhang finally lost her composure. She slowly raised her head while he began to comfort her. Her eyes filled with tears as he explained that her mother was too busy now, and after her promotion, they barely even saw each other, even on weekends. The housekeeper was completely taken aback. Jinyu promised he would come see her every single week. The housekeeper thought he had turned rebellious Zhang into a lamb in minutes. Achievement unlocked, personality patch installed. At Myung's office, she was in shock while on the phone, hearing about Zhang's behavior. The housekeeper added that right after Jinyu left, Zhang started studying on her own. When she asked if it was really okay for him to begin with such basic conversation lessons, Myung told her not to worry. She reminded her that Jinyu had entered Korea University as the top student. Casual flex, no big deal. Then she ended the call and told the housekeeper to get some rest. Her mind drifted back to little Zhang asking if she would come watch her perform at the school festival. She also remembered the time Zhang wanted to say something, but stayed quiet, thinking her mom was too tired from work. Little by little, the door stopped opening all the way, and eventually she realized something painful. The one who had truly grown exhausted wasn't her. It was Zhang. Myung thought that if Teddy Bear Aya had been there earlier, she would have understood everything from the start. Sometimes one hug beats 10 lectures. She muttered that if she had known things would turn out like this, she would have called Jinyu much sooner. Then she just stood there, staring at her bag. Later, rally practice began on the tennis court. Jinyu returned the ball again and again, finally completing the required 100 exchanges. Right then he stopped as a message popped up announcing he had unlocked the skill, Crown Prince of Tennis. Yeah, that sounds broken already. Jinyu remembered that when he was a child, a prince once told him he still had a long road ahead.